Oh, I'm live. Oh, this is kind of some weird lighting. Let me make sure my. No, it's just a weird lighting. Let me see. Let's see. Y'all, this is real life. This is real life. My husband, water jug right here. I'm at his desk so that I could feel a little more comfortable today because I'm excited about Self-Care Sunday. Let me know in the chats, how is your Sunday going? I have right here my journal for me to journal. I also have my weekly planner right here. So yeah, I'm excited to just do things on this Sunday. 2 weeks ago, we talked about just the intentions and just your goals for Self Care Sunday. And so I love that everybody in the chat was letting them off, letting us know how they were doing, and kind of just showing some support and accountability, which is super necessary when you're just on this journey. You might not be able to be getting that same thing from the people in your life. And so I really just want to bring a community for Self Care Sundays. I'm excited about it. So as people are coming along, I have my water right here so that I can make sure I stay hydrated as I'm talking with you guys. And yeah, we'll just kind of kick it a little bit, kind of see what's going on. I did get some questions in my DMs that I am going to answer on here. So if you're on live or you're catching the replay, if you ever want me to answer any questions about self care or healing, you can definitely hit me up. Hey, Heather, you can definitely hit me up on Instagram or you can type it in the comments and just let me know and I will try to get to them. How's your Sunday going, Heather? While people are still joining, jump into the chats, I'm going to answer some of these questions right here. I wrote them down in my notebook. So, one of the questions for Self Care Sunday was how do you set boundaries with caregivers? Yes, with caregivers. Hey, Cheryl, welcome back. I remember you from 2 weeks ago, honey. So the question is, how do you set boundaries with caregivers? Now, I had to do some follow up questions because I wanted to make sure I understood. So, this person um, is a caregiver, and so she is the caregiver for a parent. And so she wants to know how she can set boundaries as a caregiver of a parent. And so, what I kind of told her is, I know that those roles can kind of get confused if you were the child at first and now you're the parent and you're taking care of them, but they still feel like they have authority over you, which they do in some sense. I'm not here telling people to rebel against their parents. That's not what I'm doing. But I think that it is important to have that discussion about expectations. What are your expectations? What are my expectations? Because you are taking care of them and you're not a child. So you're not at the mercy of just doing everything that they say. And so the the threshold and kind of like the standards of where you guys are coming from should be more even. Now, respect should always be given, but you also have to see yourself as an adult and not honestly just as somebody that has to do what they say. So, first, start off by communicating those expectations and then also just having a set day or set period for you that is blocked off. So that goes to boundaries. So first you communicate those expectations and then it's important to talk about boundaries. What are they? I know you're taking care of them, so there may not be nurses involved. If there aren't, communicate, talk about it, budget it, figure out how you can get some type of nurse or, you know, Medicaid, whatever you need to do, dig deep and find that resource. And then set that time up and say, okay, on this day from this time, I'm going to do these things for myself, give back to myself, and then go from there. So I hope that was like helpful. Communicate, set those expectations, and then work on setting boundaries so that you can have some me time and take care of yourself in the midst of taking care of your parents. So, yeah, that was one of the questions. Before I jump into the next one, Heather left a question. If you're just now joining us, welcome to Self Care Sunday. I'm going to be doing this, I know, at least monthly. I know that for a fact, but I really was like, feeling good, y'all. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna do it twice this month, especially since I'm going on vacation in a week and a half. So I was like, let me pop in with the people. So on here, we talk about goals. You can ask questions. You can be journaling. We're going to have like a little journaling session a little bit where I share some prompts and just sit down and plan and kind of just like chat. So Heather has a question. How many chances should you give a therapist? I've had one session and then they've canceled last minute 3 times since without informing me as to why. Heather, I'm gonna be real honest. Honey, you don't need to give no more chances. I'm gonna be as clear cut. I am super cognizant that someone's time is so important. And if your therapist does not recognize and acknowledge, especially without informing you as to why, that's a no for me. In my life, when I went to therapy, I'm gonna say, I said, I know life. I gave them one. And then the second time, it was like, no, because I'm gonna be very honest. And I don't know if this is for you, Heather, but I'm sharing this as to me and how I work with my own individual clients is there is mental and emotional preparation that happens before you come to therapy, right? So if your therapy session's on Thursday, but something happens on Monday, you might have journaled, you might have just said, you know what, I'm just gonna like put this on the back burner because I know therapy's coming on Thursday and I need to really process this. And then it doesn't happen. What does that do for your mental and emotional well-being? I mean, for me, when it happened, it didn't do me any good because I was like, okay, well, I have been sitting on this for 4 days now, knowing that I was going to have time to process it in a healthy way. And now I can't do it. So, what do I do now? So, Heather and anybody else watching, even though I'm a therapist, mm-mm, it's a right. Someone else, Cheryl said, find another therapist. Exactly. Do not give up. I repeat, do not give up. This has happened, and people have shared their struggles with me so many times where they like tried a therapist, it didn't work. And so they just gave up on therapy as a whole. And you got to think about it like, I don't want to say like clothing. Oh, Cheryl's a therapist too. Woo woo. Yes, Cheryl said find another therapist too, and she's also a therapist. Woo woo. Um, and if you have an analogy too, Cheryl, let me know. But I think of, the therapy sometimes as like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Like sometimes you have to just keep moving along until you find the one that works for you. But when it does, ooh, 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 it feels so good. It's like, oh my gosh, everything is clicking, everything is aligning, it is everything that you wanted. And you are then able to step into that place. But if you put so much power into someone's hands where you just give up on your growth journey, your healing journey, your self care journey, your it girl journey, whatever you are calling it, that you give that power to one person, it's creating another cycle. And so don't give anybody that much power. You keep knowing your why, where you want to go, and find a person who can take you there. It's so important. That was a great question. That was a great question. I'm so happy that you asked about that. So, yeah, I have one more question that was sent to me. Again, always ask questions. Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome, Heather. Yeah, do you and come back in August for self care Sunday and let us know how that goes. Shop around. Also, do like a 15-minute I don't it's not a discovery call, but like a consultation. There we go. Like a 15-minute consultation and just ask like what are your expectations as far as cancellations? What are your, therapy modalities? How long do you work with clients? Have you worked with someone with what I'm struggling with? Ask those questions. And if they don't have time to do a consultation with you, that's a red flag too. I'm just saying. So I hope that was helpful to you. And the other question is, um, they just wanted some advice, but they shared that I'm just really struggling with being consistent with self-care, and I just find myself quitting all the time. So yeah, I can relate to that on so many levels. Let me know in the chat if y'all can relate to this person's kind of just like sharing that they struggle with being consistent with self-care and just feel like giving up. um, in all honesty, if you're a woman that society really conditions that in the terms of the totem pole of priorities, we are at the bottom. And we are okay with that until we learn that that is not okay and that's not sufficient. And I can't like show up and be the best version of myself. And so when you think about being consistent with self care, I personally like to look at it in different pockets. Now, am I going to have this amazing long spa day every day? No. So my expectations are not that I'm going to have that every day. And I think that that's how I was able to shift from being, let down and having my hopes up to just giving up and, having these long extensive times where I'm not caring for myself. I'm just go, 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 is when I started to say, you know what? There are different forms of self care. There's 5 minute self care activities, there's 10-minute self care activities, there's a whole day of self-care, which I totally love those. They don't come often, but I absolutely love them. And so if you find yourself struggling to be consistent, think about self-care in different time pockets so that if you have 10 minutes, you're just not like, oh, let me go like watch TV, which if there's a TV show and that's a part of your self-care, do you boo boo? Do you boo boo? I know I love anime as my self-care. So if I got a little 30 minutes and I just need like a little bit of just take a little edge off, just vibe out, just chill, I'll pop on some anime. If I want some time to stimulate myself mentally and step away from things, then I'll maybe turn on an audio book. So there are different ways to shift, but you have to understand for yourself. It is called self care because it is very much connected to the self. When you find that for yourself, you're able to then look at your life and how to care for yourself through a different lens. So, social media will have us thinking that we got to be on a yacht, take a whole week of vacation, and that's what self care is. But listen, they don't say social media is fake for no reason. They showing you what they want you to see, right? They could be at home on their couch and they took them pictures weeks ago and they just trying to connect them all together. I'm just saying it's been proven and people have been exposed. So recognize that being consistent looks different for everybody. So you have to find out what that looks like for you. So I hope that was helpful. Just talking about self-care, I absolutely love it. Oh yes. Okay, so Cheryl popped in, Heather, your time and emotional preparations are important. Yes, that's what I talked about. If you are preparing for that session and it don't happen, and it don't happen, and there ain't no why, mm, that's not the person for me on my journey that I want. Because if I'm having to protect myself from my own therapist, that's an immediate no, immediate no. So I hope that was helpful. So in term before I like pop into just talking about just the focus for these next 2 weeks, does anybody have any questions? Chat, let me know in the chats how y'all doing. What have y'all done so far for this Sunday? It's 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time where I am. So what have y'all done on this day? For me, I already went to church. I was up so late, which is something I'm going to talk about, y'all. I was up until you probably see some little bags under my eyes. I was up till 3 in the morning the past 2 nights. Just couldn't sleep. Just couldn't sleep. Had a lot on my mind, and so I found myself journaling, kind of sitting there. Did some meditations, and so I was like, yeah, let me talk about this because why not? I know I'm not the only person who has some sleepless nights and they got to keep going. So this morning I woke up very tired, but I was determined to not let that be a barrier to me going to church. And so I went to church, and boy, did I get my feel. Got my feel. And it got me thinking as to what I wanted my week and my next 2 weeks to look like. And so one of the questions was like, what are you thinking? Because your thoughts are very much connected to your behaviors. And for anybody who wants a little bit of sciencey, it's like CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, where your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are all connected. And so I was like, well, what have I been thinking about lately? So for anybody who is having sleepless nights or wanting to think about like where they can start for taking care of themselves regarding self-care, just ask yourself like what do I think about self-care? Like what am I thinking? What's been going on? What thoughts have been coming through in my mind? And I was like, oh my gosh, I've been like, all my thoughts have been connected with like the cruise that I have coming up, and it's been a little bit overwhelming. And so what can I do about that? I said, I am going to finish out this week, like plan, settle myself so that my thoughts, right? So that my thoughts can be a lot more calmer and not be so focused on the worrying. So that's what I'm doing for this week. It's all about like mental self care for me these next 2 weeks. So I'd love to hear in the chat what's kind of your focus for the next 2 weeks or even just the next week for self care. Okay, so Heather said, took the dogs for a walk, even though I wasn't in the mood, and felt better after the fact. And now I'm doing some coloring, watching. Oh, Heather, you hit something that I haven't done in a while. I have not colored in a while. I bought this like beautiful set of markers, and I need to use them. That's so good. And I'm happy that you did that, because especially when you don't want to do something, when you're not in the mood, that's the time that you really need to do stuff. That I mean, and I repeat, that is the time when you don't feel like doing nothing. That's when you need to do it, because that builds that resilience, and it also just helps to shift. It is so much power in like movement that I feel like people only think about exercise, but you walking the dog is movement. Like you're literally moving, your mental and emotional and body like into a better space. So hats off to you, Heather. Shauna came back, y'all. If y'all listen, y'all. When I say these self-care Sundays are connected, I mean they are connected. Okay. 2 weeks ago, she was telling us about our steps. And Shauna, welcome back, baby girl. So hey everyone, I've been getting my steps in. I'm 16 days strong on 10,000 steps. Listen, on the last one, I was like, Shauna, be real with me. Is it realistic, right? For the 10,000 steps? And she was like, yes, it is. And we was cheering her on, and 16 days strong. Woo! That's amazing. I mean, that's amazing. I'm so look, my cheekbones are starting to hurt. I'm so proud of you. That is such a beautiful thing. It takes so much mental, emotional, oh gosh, so much just to be able to throw this goal out and then to work toward it. So I'm so proud of you. Is this a 30-day challenge? Remind me, Shauna, how many days are you doing it? Because 16 days is like bam. But I feel like you're like, I'm not done yet. Like I got so much more. So that's amazing in there. Oh, that's so amazing. Um, I don't want to yell, y'all. Oh, yep, it's 30 days. That's right. Okay. That means in August, Shauna, you come back to us and you let us know. Let us know, because that's I'm just so proud of you. That actually just motivates me, because I've been feeling a little bit down about going to working out, and I'm still going, but them endorphins that you're supposed to get, child, I don't always get them. So I thought about actually making a funny like not funny, but just like a real testament for my girls, who feel like people just be talking about these highs that they get from working out and how they just don't feel great if they don't work out. And I feel just fine if I don't work out. Like I feel just fine, trust me. But I do it because I know the health benefits for it. So I'm proud of you, and you motivated me. Cheryl, I'm getting off social media this week and we'll go for slow walks at least 2 days the week and lift weights 2 days a week. Are you going to be lifting weights? Like, are you going to go to the gym, or is it are you doing it at the home? And I love that you're getting off social media. That's a whole nother video, but I'm going to use this to share because I validate that. I absolutely I absolutely despise social media. I really do. I grew up feeling like, well, not feeling, I grew up like learning and basically saw people in my life model like being present in your life, and like not needing everybody to like validate you or champion you on or know how you move in your life. And so social media is all about that. You need people to know what you're doing, because if social media doesn't know, it didn't happen. And I don't live like that. So I love that you're doing that for you, or going to the gym. Yeah, social media, it's so draining. And that's why I always, for my videos, make like a kind of business goal, self-care. I'm really working on champion and like finding my comfortable space with social media, because it is my mission and goal to be able to support women on their journey. And honestly, there's a lot of misinformation out there, and that just doesn't sit well with me. So I have to get more comfortable with social media because it's a conduit to me being able to do my passion. So I can't get off, but I am working on being on when I want to be on, and not just being like throwing my hands up with it. So I love that for you. It's very draining, but I'm trying to look at it from the other side of things, of how many women I can support and validate and cheer on, by me being on social media. So I love that for you. And I love slow walks. Uh, I went to a workshop 2 weeks ago, you guys, and um, I went to a workshop class, and it was like mindful eating. And I love food. And I like really love food, and I love food so fast, that loves food so much that like I try to eat fast sometimes because I don't want to fill up, because I'm like, oh, this tastes so good. Not good. Don't recommend it. So from that class, I have been working on incorporating like slow eating, more mindfulness in other aspects of my life, and not just that. And so slow walks and now integrating it with my food has been, oh my gosh, it's been life changing. I've been teaching it with my kids too, like, hey, like, wait, let's slow down. Like, let's look at the food, right? Let's smell the food, right? Let's look at it. Let's appreciate it and then eat it. So yeah, I love that for you. Slow walks, slowing everything down. I need to work on my social media usage. I just scroll mindlessly, not enjoying it, thinking about the things I want to do, but instead just sit there scrolling randomly. Yeah. Don't be hard on yourself, Heather. That's what social media is so good with, right? It's so good with sucking us in as a mindless kind of act that we do. And so we're always looking for that next kind of laugh, or we just keep scrolling. And so it is just a distraction. And so maybe um I don't know. I have an iPhone, and it tells me like my usage, but I know some people have set timers for how long they can be on social media. I do that with my kids. I'm not saying you're a kid, but I'm saying I actually implement it in my life as well, like with timers of how much time you can actually do it. That way you're kind of putting it in a box, and give yourself freedom so you don't feel guilty about it. It's normalized, but if you want to step away from it, set timer. Okay, I'm gonna like scroll on social media. That way I'm giving myself permission and I don't feel guilty about it. And then I'll move on, and I'll maybe color, walk the dogs, I'll stretch, do some work, plan for the week, so that you kind of feel good about your day as a whole when you reflect on it, and not just feeling like you've been like scrolling a lot. Also, check the people that you following. That helped me so much. that I didn't get caught up in other things because I was really mindful about the people that we're following. But if we think about some of the platforms, they don't show you who you following anyways, which is a little sketch. But I digress. But yeah, so that the things that you're actually seeing is like motivating, empowering you, supporting you, reminding you of all the goodness and your worth and everything that you deserve, and not just like, look at me, you know. So that's my take, y'all. I'm not judging nobody. That's just my take. I like that give permission, not feel guilty. Yes, yes, permission. That is something that I've been working on heavily, and have worked on in the past. But yeah, giving myself permission, because I find that guilt kind of lasts a lot longer than happiness. And so I've been stepping away from um, things or behaviors and really challenging those thoughts, so that if I do feel guilty, let's talk about why. Like, let's journal about why I feel guilty about this. Let's understand it. Oh, I feel guilty because I feel like there were other productive things that I could have been doing. Well, what are the other productive things that I could have been doing? And really just going down there to really take away the power from the guilt and just give myself sometimes, permission. If I want to watch a TV show, I'm gonna watch that TV show. That way I can fully enjoy it and not have my mind split in different ways. So then when I'm done watching the TV show, it didn't even give me what I needed to give me, because I was thinking about all the other stuff that I was supposed to be doing. So I try to like make sure I don't feel guilty and don't rob myself of moments that are supposed to be joyful because I'm thinking about other things. Um, oh, Jupiter. Okay. Rashana, for the past few years, I've been working in a corporate environment. I noticed that my coworkers treat me differently. Um, I started showing up to work with my Lauren Hill from Sister Act to Braids with Pride. Oh, I love that. Jupiter, you talked about that on the last self-care Sunday, about just like texture and how you can like love yourself and feel more comfortable with your hairstyles. Love that for you. And I'm a big fan. Okay. Big fan of Lauren Hill. And I love Sister Act so much. So much. Love it. Love all the songs and just love the story behind it. They about to come back with number 3. I hope they do justice. We ain't wait all this time to just get something that's not good. I digress. But yeah, I'm super proud of you. Like, finding pride within just what makes you unique. Your uniqueness is something that should be honored and not stripped away because of people who are uncomfortable. Like, I had to work on, listen, I'm always working on something, y'all. Let's just be honest. But I say that because I want y'all to know that even though I'm a therapist and coach, like, I've worked on it. I've done a lot of inner work. And so it's not something that I just say lightly. Like, I've done the work. But your own uniqueness. And I had to learn that people being uncomfortable doesn't have to make me uncomfortable. So if they're uncomfortable with the beautiful textured hair that you have, I got mine out for real. I went to church, sporting my puff baby. Um, but I don't let it. So if they're uncomfortable, that doesn't mean you have to be comfortable. You be comfortable within yourself and reinforce that and validate it, and wear your braids with pride, honey. 2 finger snap. Um, oh, your sister struggles with depression. What are some strategies that you can use to help her out? So that's a different take. So, yeah. So when you're thinking about just someone else's, first of all, mental health is such a personal journey. Such a personal journey. No one experienced it the same. They might have similar symptoms, but how they work on them, alleviate them, are all different. But for people in other people's lives who are struggling with depression, number one, I would say, be mindful of just your verbiage. If you're a person who doesn't struggle with depression, or maybe you have, giving them their space to have their own unique experience and their own unique journey, um, is honoring them and not just kind of labeling them. Oh my gosh, oh, I have depression, so that means you're like everybody else. That can be like a sting to the heart because you're not actually seeing the person. And when you're going through struggles, you want people to just see you for you and not the label. So the first strategy, oh yeah, space and grace with love. Love that, Cheryl. Yes, give space and grace. And when you think about like grace, it's really loving them unconditionally, but recognizing that you don't know how to help them. It's not your specialty. You're not trained. So don't put that weight on yourself, but ask them. I think communication is the best thing when somebody's struggling with depression, and say, hey, you know, how can I support you? Do you need meals? Do you need to watch TV? Do you want to get out the house? Do you want me to do your laundry? Just some of those small tasks that are really daunting when you're in a struggling place can be a really beautiful thing that gives them that space, to heal and to say, "Oh my gosh, like they actually see me." Because sometimes trying to explain what's going on with you can be really hard. You don't want people to worry about you, but letting them know that you have the space as well. Like I may be I may be going through things, but I am available to you. Have going over their support system, and just encouraging them. Do you need me to drive you to the doctor's appointment? What can I do to take some things off your plate so that you have the space to care for your mental health? Can be like a super powerful thing. And so, it's always a tricky and difficult thing when a loved one does have mental health issues, because you want to fix it. You want them to be all better because you may remember them at their best and they're not at their best right now, and you're like, oh, I just want to get you to back to your best. But to say, hey, like, while you're in this stage, I'm going to be here for you. I'm going to support you. I'm going to love on you. Just let me know what that looks like for you. Kind of like the language, the five love languages. I almost got that twisted in my mind, but the five love languages, and kind of just like stepping into that and giving them that space to be authentic to where they are in the journey and not having to wear a mask with you, like they probably have to do with everybody else because they don't want them to worry. Oh, I'm happy that was helpful, Natasha. Yeah, and I think grace and love. It's a challenging thing. And I think lastly, I'll just share that to make sure you have a support system. It's your sister who you're watching go through these struggles. So make sure that after you are there with them or supporting them or being there for them, that you then practice self-care yourself, right? So yes, you want strategies for how you can be there for your sister, but make sure that you care for yourself. Have positive, affirmations, have your own support system, and have your own place that you can be open to the content you post. Oh, I'm so happy about that. Yeah, I think, definitely more therapists out there is necessary. And um the program that I went through, um, we had to do our own inner work, right? Like our own inner work, with our supervisors. And so that way you didn't really have a lot of gaps and you're aware of your triggers. So when I work with people, I'm aware of my triggers. So even though I'm helping others, that's my passion. I feel like in my heart of hearts, that's my purpose, right? But I still have my own set of self care and unwind routines that I do before I enter the space with my kids and my husband, because it's a whole different space, right? And I have to make sure that the Rashonda that shows up as a therapist, you know, can also show up as a mom and a wife. So care for yourself as you're also caring for your sister. And I'm so happy that you want to be a therapist. I said this earlier, but like that's really cool. And drug and alcohol addiction, that is not for the faint-hearted, like at all. Like at all. I did substance in Florida. I did because substance abuse is like really big in Florida. I did it for a year, and I was like, that's all I needed to know. I went back. But I knew that wasn't my calling. Like I was getting too triggered within my own story, and I was aware of that. So make sure you do your own inner work, before stepping into, a population. Know where you're vulnerable at. Same in your program. All counseling students are encouraged to get counseling, so we have the knowledge on both sides. Absolutely, Misty. It's important. It's necessary. Like whether you're a therapist or not, you got to know where you are, where you're vulnerable at, um and where your strengths are. Like I know my strengths. I know my strengths. I really do. But I also know my weaknesses very much so. That's why I'm not in drug or addiction. That's a weakness of mine. So in how you're carrying out and navigating, recognize that. So for keep using the chat. Um absolutely love it. These self-care Sundays, I just want y'all to know that they're everything I imagined. And I love that for all of us. Okay. I love that for all of us. So, in terms of just thinking about for the week, I just wanted to pick one of the pillars of self care this Sunday. And so, if you don't know, there are different types of self care. There's physical, mental, social, emotional, and spiritual self care. So, I already did my spiritual self care this morning. And so for the rest of today, I'm going to be working on mental self care. And if you're like, how am I going to do that? The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to plan. So I do my monthly goals, which y'all have seen in my monthly reset. But I'm also going to now plan weekly this week and kind of just adjust some things, because if you're just popping on, I had 2 sleepless nights and I had to dig in and figure out why I wasn't able to just turn my brain off and like go to sleep peacefully. It's because I'm a little overwhelmed. And so I need to do a better job now of how can I decrease that overwhelm? What can I get done? What can I delegate? What can I ask for help? I repeat that for the people in the back. What can I ask? What can I ask for help, so that I can work on that? And then tips for also just like mental self-care. Some of my favorites is deep breathing, guided meditations, practicing mindfulness. I'm going to prune my plants. I'm a plant mom, y'all. If y'all didn't know, I just added an olive tree, and I'm going to get a blueberry as well. Oh, I love them. But yes, and just take time to just like focus before I go into like cooking dinner and putting the kids down, and then just kind of gonna unwind for the rest of the night, do my skincare, and just work on just really easing my way into things. I love yoga. It's the breath for me. Okay, yes, yes, yes. So yoga is quite interesting for me, Misty. Um, but I know there are some stretches that are like very connected, but I don't do all stretches. So yeah, but that's a whole different topic. But yes, I do know that yoga is very grounding for a lot of people, and it's a beautiful thing. I really like breath work, like really love breath work. It's been game changing for me. Oh, there's another plant mom in the house. Listen, Natasha, yeah, I got to scratch my forehead on it. I be stressing. Do you stress? Did you stress in the beginning being a plant mom? I feel like sometimes I'm like, oh wait, I thought I gave it enough water. I didn't give it enough water. Am I overwatering? I be stressing by my plants. That's why I don't have a animal anymore. It's too much responsibility. I got 3 kids, and I just need the lowest amount of extra responsibility in my life. I know that for myself, and I'm comfortable with that. But I am trying to be on like Google and things of that nature for my plants. But I love them and I'm taking care of them. What are your thoughts on tapping exercises? Okay, I'm gonna make it short because we getting close. But for tapping exercises, okay, so I am actually trained in EMDR. So EMDR is eye movement desensitization. Child, I can't remember the last one, but yes. Yes. And it involves tapping as well, and using their eye movement to process just different emotions without needing to talk. So I'm a big fan of tapping exercises. I'm trained in EMDR. I think it's a beautiful thing. I've done it on myself, and I've done it with clients as well. I particularly use it very much so when I'm on airplanes and in elevators. I have a phobia. I have panic attacks, and so I have to work on processing that emotion. I also went to a EMDR therapist as well for me to work on that fear that was stuck in my heart for a long time with airplanes. So yes, love that. Love tapping. I think it's a beautiful thing. Um, yes, indeed. I started with low maintenance plants and watched a lot of YouTube on how to take care of them. Okay, I'm gonna up my YouTube game with my plants. My dad is in landscaping, and so he's always asking me to take pictures, and I gladly do because I don't know what I'm doing. And so I'm gonna get on YouTube, and I'm gonna write that on my planner, y'all. I already started a little bit. I'm going to work on um, carving out space, right? Because that's still considered social media. So I'm going to carve out some space and time block for me to be on YouTube working on learning for my plants so that I don't go overboard because I can dive in deep, y'all. I can dive in real deep with YouTube. I love it. But yes, and somebody else also validated EFT is amazing. I think it's a beautiful thing. Everything doesn't work for everybody. What I personally love is that there isn't a lot of talking. Sometimes there isn't words that I want to express what the difficult feeling, and that's okay. Other people might not agree, but I think there are many ways of processing and communicating what you're feeling, and many paths toward healing for you, especially because we're all different individuals. So I love that for us. Just the and I talked a little bit about what I journaled, but I'll put it in the chat as well. I have it right here. But the journal prompt that I did for me to know that I needed to work on mental focus this week, was write about a challenging emotion you have been experiencing lately, dive deeper into understanding its root cause and healthy ways to cope with it. So I'm going to put that in the chat, you guys. Boom. So that's the journal prompt that I did prior to self-care Sunday, like I did a couple hours ago, for me to know that mental focus and mental self-care was what I really needed to focus on, and understanding the root cause of me not being able to sleep, and knowing that I needed to plan, and knowing that I needed to actually just add in some more strategies, right? With my plants, also with deep breathing, stretching, and just cultivating just ways for me to relax my mind so that I can have rest this week. Because it's no point in doing all the good things and getting your to-do list done and going through the day, but you feel restless and drained because you're tapped out. I don't want to be tapped out. I don't want y'all to be tapped out. So if there's been a challenging emotion that's been showing up, journal about it. Get to the root cause. Do not let that unknown emotion rule your life when you can name it, and then you can find that root cause and then go after it. So look, I'm trying to contain my hands, y'all, because I talk with my hands. So I'm like, get to the root cause of it. So yes, thank you so much. I give your YouTube video to my class. Oh, Cheryl, I'm so happy about that. I'm so happy about that. Speaking of it, you guys, I am so good with not like toot my own horn, but I am, I feel like it's a strength of mine, right? I feel like it's a strength of mine that if to be just present, right? To be present with in the moment. And because I'm present in the moment, I want to be able to like support y'all. And sometimes I don't know what videos can be helpful. So please, y'all, please message me, please DM me like what videos would be helpful so that I can make content that's helpful for y'all. If y'all sat down and talked to me, I would be on it. As you see, I'm laser focused. But if you tell me, oh, I got to create some content, I'd be like, child, I don't know what to talk about, but I have lots of things. I just don't know in that moment. So if there are video requests or topics, or if you have a question, I'm thinking about doing just like, I don't know what I want to call it, but just like every once a week, just hopping on and answering a question that someone has. And that way, I can make sure that you guys are seeing me. I'm giving y'all the content, and I'm also being able to connect with you guys. So, yes, I hope that Self Care Sunday on July 16th was good. Checking the calendar, school starts next month. But yeah, I can't do it the 6th of August, but August 13th. And I'm going to already schedule it after this so that you guys can like it and get notified, get like set your notification. But the next time we'll do it is August 13th. And I will also be having some exciting news on that live. I'm super excited. I've been working on something in the background, y'all. But I just want to say, I hope that as you're on this journey, that this self-care Sunday sesh lets you know that you're not alone, um, that there are other women that are on the same journey, that love the same things that you do, and who will support you. So if it's getting your steps in, being a plant mom, learning about just how to care for others, stepping away from social media. These are just some of the few things that, people shared in the chat that they're working on. And so we will support you. We will celebrate you. This is a safe space for you. And I'm happy to be with you guys. So, yeah, I love Self Care Sundays. I can't wait to see you guys on the 13th. If you're catching the replay, I hope it's still valuable to you. And I will see you guys August 13th. I hope you guys have a blessed and wonderful day. And I will see you guys then. Let me know. Hit me up on Instagram, or email me at info@rashondajames.com. And just, I love to hear your thoughts. Blessings to you guys. Bye. Thank you. Everybody saying bye, you as well. Oh, hearts.